You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. As we speak, the MAGA 20 are holding strong and voting against Kevin McCarthy yet again. You know, this Kevin McCarthy, how many times does this guy have to be rejected?
Really, I think it's going to go on and on and on. This guy has been working to get to this point in his career forever.
A point of humiliation?
Yes, and he is not going to back down, and they're not going to back down. And I don't know, I'm predicting that this is going to go on for quite a while.
Well,
quite a while.
You know, he's going to go down in history as the most defeated member of Congress to be up for Speaker ever, and this record will never be broken. But it's beautiful. I love it. And Fox and Friends did something today that is unforgivable. I'm going to play you a piece of audio in a moment. Of course, I did not hear this live because Fox and Friends is on when I'm on the radio live, and I know none of you listening to this program watch Fox and Friends because you're listening to me on the radio because who's watching Fox and Friends? It's got to be very lowly rated since it's on up against me on the radio in the mornings. But Brian Kilmeade on Fox and Friends said something about the MAGA 20 that is unforgivable. And, he did something else recently, Kathy. I forgot what he did recently. About a month ago, he said something else. I put him on my list of people not to trust. Brian Kilmeade. I cannot remember what it was, and I have the list at the radio station, but if anybody remembers what Brian Kilmeade did recently, like about a month or so ago, let me know. But this is today. He's talking about the heroic MAGA 20 who are standing strong against the Uniparty and have stopped Kevin McCarthy, the Swamp Thing, from becoming the Speaker of the House. So this is Fox and Friends this morning. Listen. First it wants to play an ad. I hate when videos online play an ad. Okay, hold on. I got to hit the skip. Here we go.
Discuss ways to get around this and try to come together today at noon.
Right, but here's the thing. If you pick Jim, just so insincere the insurrectionists are, I probably shouldn't use that word, the people that don't want to vote for Kevin McCarthy. They would disagree with that. Right, saboteur. So if you pick...
Oh, that's better, saboteurs. So he called them insurrectionists. And let me tell you what happened here. This is absolutely amazing what just happened here. Now, I was telling people on the radio this morning that if Kevin McCarthy does not get the speakership today, and this carries into Friday, all you're going to hear about on Friday are references, because Friday is January 6th, and it'll be 2 years since the Capitol breach. The MAGA 20 are going to be referred to all day long as insurrectionists. So what happened with Brian Kilmeade here, they got out of their meeting. They were pitching ideas and what's coming up this week on Fox, and they were talking about tomorrow if an insurrection came up, because the insurrection of January 6th, and these are the insurrectionists, and there's going to be profiles done on the members of the MAGA 20, where they were and what they were doing and how they were connected to the Capitol breach. They've been doing this all week in the mainstream media, but here's the thing about Fox News Channel. I've been pretty hard on Fox News Channel the last couple of years, and for good reason. But here's the thing with Fox News. Fox News is number one in cable. It disgusts me that they are, but they're number one in cable, not because of them, but because of you guys out there, conservatives like me and you. And Fox News Channel was on the air for many years, and they were lowly rated. And during the 2000 recount in the state of Florida is when Fox News became number one. They went on the air in 1994. They had 6 years of not being highly rated. And what had happened during the 2000 recount is people discovered Fox News Channel for the first time. And they became number one quickly, and they stayed there. And I remember seeing William LaJeunesse was the Fox News. He's still with Fox News. William LaJeunesse was in front of the ballot counting room in Broward County during the 2000 recount with Bush Gore. And they were doing all of that down the street from where Kathy and I lived at the time. We were not married very long. I guess we were married 3-4 years at that time, but we've been married 26 years now, so that's not very long compared to now. And we had a condo then, not the house we live in now. We had a condo, and it was right down the street. And I used to go there every day. The national media was there. I met Bob Dole and a lot of famous people. And I saw people when William Lajeunesse was not doing a segment, like he was between being on TV. I saw people going up to William Lajeunesse, shaking his hand, hugging him, and thanking him for days. You guys at Fox News Channel are so great. I never knew about you. You're the only ones telling it like it is. And they shot up to number one. And here they are, worse than CNN. And the reason they're worse than CNN is because they claim to be one thing while they're another. And, calling the MAGA 20 insurrectionist. These people are elected by their constituents in their home districts. They're not elected to go to Washington and rubber stamp anything that the party establishment leadership tell them to do. They have a responsibility to their constituents. The leader of the MAGA 20, I guess, is Matt Gaetz. He's the front man. He's doing the press conferences and everything. And Matt Gaetz is a congressman from Ron DeSantis' free Florida, where Kathy and I live, okay? Unfortunately, he's not my congressman. We live in a Democrat district. We got some Democrat jerk as our voice in Congress, okay? But Florida is very proud of Matt Gaetz. And the way that he is talking is the way Florida feels. And he's up there representing his constituents in his very red district here in Ron DeSantis' free Florida. He's not up there to listen to this establishment swamp creature, swamp thing, Kevin McCarthy, some vanilla rhino from California who calls himself a conservative, even though he's not. So, they're not insurrectionists. You know what I've not seen them do? I have not seen any of the media go to the districts of the MAGA 20 and ask constituents what they think about what they're doing. Have you, Kathy?
No, and they won't do that. And
no.
It is their right to vote however they want.
Correct.
They're starting to throw this word around like they throw the word around racist.
Yeah.
It's not used in the proper context. And I don't know why they keep using that word. It's a trigger word because it does not mean what's happening here at all. They're just voting against somebody, which they have an absolute right to do. That's how our government works. So I don't understand how they feel using that word makes any sense. It's not what that means at all. So it's totally out of not being used properly. I heard them on MSNBC calling, because we've been flipping around the news, calling them the rebels.
Yeah.
That's cute. They're like giving them a label like they give serial killers. I mean, it's just bizarre. And I think Kevin McCarthy, this is not going to happen. I think he should do the right thing and drop out and step aside and say, you know what, for the good of the party, put somebody up that everybody can agree on. Mm-hmm. But that's not going to happen. And this is going to go on and on and on. It's a big chicken fight or whatever, chicken contest, they from Footloose, where they have the two tractors. Mm-hmm. What do they call that? Going towards each other?
Two tractors going towards each other is what they call that.
No,
chicken?
No, it's a game of chicken.
Chicken.
Exactly. It's kind of what's happening here, or a pissing contest, whatever you want to call it. And, as usual, the only people that lose are the American people.
That's right.
But they have every right to vote however they want.
And they should.
It does not make them insurrectionists. And I think it's very dangerous to label people that don't agree with you, that just don't vote the way you want. Fox News clearly is trying to help Kevin McCarthy. And they're trying to intimidate these 20 people and harass them into submission. And this is what they do in politics now. And they probably always have, but this is just more open because of social media and the way the news is. But this is probably goes on all the time. But I don't think anybody in that group is going to back down, because then they're going to look like they're quitters, and it's not going to look good. And but I am curious as well what their constituents think. I would love to know that. And you're right; they should go interview people in
absolutely. Their district. Okay, yeah, they absolutely should. And I got to tell you one thing before we continue with this. This is just an amazing thing at mypillow.com. Kathy and I have to buy some new 3-inch MyPillow mattress toppers. Right? We want one for our daughter moved out. Okay, we're telling this. So we want to get one for our daughter at her new place, and we want to get one for what is going to be a guest bed too. The 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper. This is an amazing announcement from MyPillow. Kathy and I have a MyPillow 3-inch mattress topper on our bed. It will change your life. Every night when I get into bed, how long does it take me to fall asleep, Kathy, when I lay down on the bed?
2 minutes, literally.
Long?
We'll be in the middle of a conversation, and you'll be talking to me, and then I'll start talking, and then you're like asleep.
That's right.
Maybe it's me.
No, it's
I think it's the bed.
It's the 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper, because that MyPillow 3-inch mattress topper,
it is comfortable.
You will feel a comfort like you've never experienced before when you go to sleep at night. It is at the lowest price ever, 50% off when you use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. That's mypillow.com. Use our promo code Kane, Kane, at checkout, 50% off the MyPillow 3-inch mattress topper. It's lowest price ever, available in all mattress sizes. It'll change your life. In fact, I was talking the other day on my YouTube live chat, and I told people, I said, if I could only have one MyPillow product, if I could only have one, we've got almost all of them, but if I could only choose one, it would be the 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper. It's that good. All right, so go to mypillow.com, use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, and save 50% off the 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper. Okay, just a few minutes ago, right before we started the show, I saw something that was a little troubling to me, and I don't want to be troubled by it. I saw Ron DeSantis' swearing in. You know, Ron DeSantis had his inauguration this week, and
I hope that didn't trouble you.
Well, there was someone was there.
Oh.
Okay, now they got an excuse to be there, but I don't like that they were there. Let me tell you about this. Now, Ron DeSantis' second inauguration as the governor of the great state of Ron DeSantis' Free Florida. We have renamed the state of Florida to Ron DeSantis' Free Florida. Didn't get the attention it deserved that it would have gotten because of the McCarthy voting going on, okay?
True.
But standing up there on the stage with the great governor, Ron DeSantis, our governor, who we both vote for. I met Governor DeSantis. He did an appearance with him at our sponsor, Wings Plus in Coral Springs. Who was up there on the stage? Jeb Bush. Now, Jeb Bush is Jeb Bush is a former governor of Florida.
That's true.
He was, It's
kind of like Dancing with the Stars, where they bring in the old contestants, and they're always sitting in the audience because they have nothing better to do. So that's probably what it is. I mean, they always invite, when they have presidential inaugurations, don't they invite former presidents? I wouldn't make too much about that. He's the former governor, and he doesn't have a lot going on. And I think this is that was his old job.
I'm not blaming Governor DeSantis. Okay,
no.
Jeb Bush. Not only was he governor of Florida, he was a really good governor. And when he
lives in Florida,
he lives in Miami.
Yeah, he's a Florida
guy. When he became governor, he was a Republican governor. We had a Democrat before him. This state has had Republican governors since Jeb Bush was elected to his first term, so that's a good thing. But Jeb Bush is a never-Trumper creep like nobody's business, and we found out how deep his family are in the deep state.
Good look.
And Jeb Bush hates MAGA. And what I was wondering was this. What did Governor DeSantis think about this? Now, obviously, because Jeb Bush is a former governor of Florida, he can go to any inauguration he wants for governor of Florida. It's his right, and it's I get that. But does it help Ron DeSantis that this never-Trumper is up there on stage?
How close was he? I mean, how close was he to DeSantis?
He was pretty close. Okay, so DeSantis
it doesn't help him at all. But
he was – no, okay. This happened a couple days ago, and I just found out about it a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
And it's because of where he was standing, okay, Jeb?
Yeah.
So I think that Governor DeSantis put Jeb in a place to try to hide him from the cameras, because I saw some pictures and video earlier this week, and Jeb wasn't in them. I would have seen Jeb. And Steve Kane and I used to know Jeb, and he got really weird after he became governor. You guys saw him in the debates with Trump. He was like he acted like Beto a lot. He's a very strange cat. But I've known Jeb since the early 90s. I've met him many times when his father was president. He was always a very nice guy. He was always very nice to me. And we we had a great exchange with him. We had him in studio on the radio once, and it was such a great moment. I wish I had this on tape. A black Democrat lady caller calls in to Jeb Bush when he was running for governor and says, Jeb Bush, when you become governor, what are you going to do to help black people? And Jeb said nothing. And she says, what?
You mean he said the word nothing?
He said nothing.
He didn't sit there in silence.
He said the word nothing.
Right.
And she says, what do you mean nothing, Jeb Bush? And he says, I'm not going to do anything for black Floridians that I would not do for white Floridians or Hispanic Floridians. He says, I'm going to do things to help all Floridians. And
all lives matter.
And I thought that was just such an amazing moment. But many years later, when he was on the debate stage with our great president, Donald Trump, he looked like a fool. But anyway, so at the DeSantis inauguration, I've seen several videos and pictures of the inauguration. And this was a few days ago. And I just noticed Jeb today, just right before we did the start of the podcast here. So if you go and look at it, Governor DeSantis and his wife, Casey, he's taking the oath of office. She's next to him. They're facing the judge that's swearing him in. Jeb is behind the judge. The judge is facing DeSantis, and they're kind of like sideways on the stage. Jeb is facing outward towards the audience, but you only get part of Jeb's face and body in the video that I saw. So I think Governor DeSantis positioned Jeb in a way that he would be cut out of a lot of the press footage, because it's been like 2 or 3 days and I hadn't seen Jeb in anything. I would have noticed it right away if I would have if it would have been there in the other one. So I thought that. So I think DeSantis knows that while he may have been a governor for and when he was a governor, Jeb Bush not only was a very good governor, he was a lot like Governor DeSantis. He took on the teachers union, broke the teachers union, brought vouchers and school choice to Florida.
Yeah, he did.
The teachers union took a mortgage out on their building to run to put into the campaign funds of the Democrat running against Jeb. And it was so, but after he was governor for 8 years, he got really weird, very egocentric, and
I just think
it just became very strange.
I just think Casey DeSantis was too dressed up.
Really?
You know, she's a pretty lady, and I don't want to knock her because she's been through cancer and stuff, and she seems like a very cool person.
She is.
Very devoted wife, and she's done a lot for Florida, too. I like her. Don't get me wrong. But she had a beautiful dress on and everything. But I just thought the white gloves were a bit much. You know,
really?
It's to me how a first lady of the nation like Melania would dress when Trump was
she looked like Jackie Kennedy.
Yeah, I know, but you don't think that's a bit over the top?
Not at all. I thought she looked good.
Governor?
No, I thought it looked good. You know what it is?
No, she looked good.
You know what it is,
but
Kathy?
I just thought the white gloves were a bit over the top. That's all.
You don't see women
too much.
You don't see women in white gloves too much anymore.
No, and it was in the middle of the day.
And
it's wintertime.
If you see women in white gloves, it's usually in old pictures from the 50s and 60s.
Right.
So you're just not used to seeing them like at high definition 4K in the modern era.
Nobody wears white gloves.
Casey DeSantis does.
Well, I'm saying. I mean, she's not going to start a new trend.
I don't know.
I don't. You know, I thought it was a bit old fashioned.
I might order some white gloves on Amazon.
You know, she seems nice, and I like her. Don't get me wrong, but I just thought they were a bit too much with her outfit. Her outfit was beautiful color. I don't love the whole. Now, when Trump was inaugurated, Melania had on like all light blue, which I thought was a little strange. I thought she should have worn red, but maybe I've really never seen her.
I thought she looked great.
She did look great. But she had on blue gloves to match. And it was cold. They were up north in D.C. in January. I get it. You don't need gloves in Florida. Of course, it is Tallahassee. It might have been chilly. But I just thought they were a bit over the top.
I don't know. Well,
we'll agree to disagree.
I do know this, okay? Yeah. Fox.
She looked great, though. I just thought they were a bit much.
Fox News Channel this week has shown their true colors. And this thing with Fox and Friends and Kill Me today was, calling the MAGA 20 insurrectionists.
Well, he instantly regretted it.
And he slipped.
He said, maybe I shouldn't have said that.
You know what that is? That when he called them insurrectionists, that means that on Fox News Channel, when the cameras aren't running, that's what they call them.
And he
slipped.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, when you got live television, live radio or something, you get a little honesty.
What do you think is going to happen with all this? I don't think either side is going to cave. And clearly Trump has little influence over what's happening because he's been truthing about it, and it's not making the needle move in either direction. So what do you have these 20 people here? You have he needs their votes. They're not going to budge. What do you think is going to happen? I don't think McCarthy's going to step down. I don't think this is ever going to get resolved.
I hope not. I hope that they keep voting for the next 2 years and never have a speaker. That's what my hope is. And a lot of people don't understand this.
No, they don't.
Listen, this is such an amazing time. These 20, I keep calling them the MAGA 20. And I don't know, it hasn't caught on because the media want to call them all these terrible things. But I think the MAGA 20 is really good. And, we might lose some. It might become the MAGA 19 or 18, but we don't need that many. We're doing fine. This is the only time that I know of where a group of Republicans in the Congress have stood up for the right thing and refused to budge. And I'll tell you, there was an amazing thing happened today. Mm-hmm. When Matt Gaetz voted for Donald Trump to be Speaker of the House. Oh, that was beautiful. But that wasn't the best part. Go back and watch the video. So he was sitting next to Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Marjorie Taylor Greene has become an advocate for Kevin McCarthy.
Yeah.
When Matt Gaetz stood up and said Donald Trump, and he sat down, Marjorie Taylor Greene was loving it. She was laughing, and she said something to him, and she was so excited at that. I was like, wow.
Too bad she doesn't have the balls to do that herself.
Well, it showed me that she is being blackmailed. I believe she's being blackmailed by Kevin McCarthy. And
it also shows you that she and Matt Gaetz are still friends, and that Matt Gaetz doesn't care that she's supporting McCarthy. This is all, I understand why they're doing this, but you also have to realize, pardon me, I'm so cynical about it. I just feel that so much of this is just a dog and pony show, and they're just doing this.
Not at all
for appearances.
Not at all, Kathy. I don't know
the fact that they were yucking it up and laughing.
No, it means that she's
a little weird.
It means she's being blackmailed into doing something she doesn't want to do, and
or this is all staged.
It's no. This is real. The Republicans don't stand up like this. This is amazingly real. Now, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, there's a lot more to talk about. Don't go anywhere. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be right back.
From author John Philip S. DeRocha comes your next must-read book, A Shocking Call, available on Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com. All his life, Simon, a middle-aged actor, wondered who he really was. One day, he receives an explosive email. He was both surprised and excited by the news. Simon learned that his biological father is still alive and lives in Canada. From that moment on, his life changed drastically. He embarks on a journey of the past that begins in Canada. For the first time, he met his biological father, Peter, and his new family members. Together with Peter's estranged wife, Anita, he explored the background to his hidden truth that's been going on for over 4 decades. They travel back in time and put together the puzzle that seems to be Simon's life. He was full of doubt and confusion for the majority of his life. He was always thinking that some things just didn't make sense, but he never had the explanation until he discovered who his biological father was. Then, the oppressed and hidden talents come to life, and he is very well aware of his plan to tell his life story. A Shocking Call can help others in similar situations dive into a child's world, the fears, the pain, and possibly suffering less when they see the positive side of discovering the truth. Order your copy of A Shocking Call from author John Philip S. DeRocha. Available on Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com. Discover the wisdom and fun in word learning. Dictionaries only give a basic understanding of words. Add the benefits of a visual dictionary to your language learning toolkit with the CHAM 20,000 Vocabulary 1. From author Yawen Zhang, CHAM 2000 Vocabulary 1 explains the meaning of over 5,400 words using images and diagrams. This provides you with the knowledge you need to gain a deeper understanding of language. This dictionary is an invaluable resource for any language learner, explaining both concrete and abstract words. If you're having trouble understanding the abstract concepts conveyed by words, this visual dictionary is the key you've been missing. Grow and strengthen your understanding of language with the CHAM 20,000 Vocabulary 1 from author Yawen Zhang. Order your copy from the Google Play Store or by visiting pubu.com.tw. Want to know where all the bodies are buried? Author Robert Allen Miltenberg holds the key to that question in his book, Pool Boy to the Mob, Everybody Out of the Pool. Author Robert Allen Miltenberg holds the key to that question in his book, Pool Boy to the Mob. Welcome to Mob-Ammy Beach. This book is a fictionalized account of Miltenberg working at a mob-owned Miami Beach hotel in the 70s. If you're a fan of The Godfather, Goodfellas, or The Sopranos, you will love this story that's full of colorful characters and wisecracking wise guys. It's a story with everything from Playboy bunnies and weaponized parrots to shattering the glass ceiling and getting away with murder, all in paradise. This is a wise guy tale you've never heard. Surrounded by pools, the trick for Bobby Moskowitz was not slipping in the one thicker than water. Bobby lived to tell the tales, and now you can read all about it. The funniest mob novel since Jimmy Breslin's The Gang That Couldn't Shoot Straight. Pool Boy to the Mob, Everybody Out of the Pool, from author Robert Allen Miltenberg, available on Amazon. Order your copy right now.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. CNN has hired Adam Kinzinger as their new senior political commentator.
Oh my God. They just can't stop themselves.
What does he have to add? What, I mean, really, what does this rhino have to... You know, cable news, the liberal cable news, mainstream media are just filled with these fake Republicans. Michael Steele...
Well, now we know why he didn't run again. They offered him a job.
And probably a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what Adam Kinzinger's job is to spend every day bashing Trump. That's right. His whole job description is bash Trump. Trump is evil. I do not like him. He's a real sleaze. Now, I want to take a moment.
All the time. He's really annoying.
Oh, yeah. I want to take a moment to thank all of our Patreon supporters for their support of the program. And if you would like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the episode description, and also there's a direct link on my website, briancraigshow.com. And there's a lot of perks to becoming a Patreon supporter. And one of those, if you're a top Patreon supporter, you get a live on-air thank you shout-out on each and every episode of the program. So the names you will hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, Gary, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Rome, Wisconsin, Mike, Paulette, Carlos, and Dave. These are our top Patreon supporters. Thank you so much for your support. Okay, so Biden, who has the nuclear football and control over the world here, he got a loss for words, and Kamala had to finish his sentence. Listen to this.
I'm not being facetious. Well, President Harris led this effort to make things better.
Okay, now that's part one I wanted to share with you. He just called Kamala Harris President Harris. She's, of course, the vice president. I call her Willie Brown's girlfriend. You never mess up with that one. So he calls her President Harris, which is not the first time he's done this. He's called her President Harris many, many times. And then he calls her President Harris. He walks away, starts talking to the press, gets lost for words, and President Harris has to step in and finish his sentence. Listen to this.
Thank you so much.
Are you still monitoring the speaker's race? Are you still watching the speaker's race?
Following with great,
attention.
Wow. He couldn't remember the word attention. He could not finish a simple sentence. It's not like he had forgotten someone's name or something. He could not finish a sentence.
I don't know if she should have corrected him like that. I don't know if that was a good idea.
Probably not. Probably not.
Accentuates it more. I mean, I forget words sometimes. I'm not as his age, but sometimes a word will slip my mind. I don't think that's that big a deal. But I think her correcting him, she's not his wife. That's something like a wife does, what Jill does. I just think it's a little...
It's not a good look.
Weird for her to correct him like that. I'm sure he was not happy.
What
probably told her, don't ever do that again.
What kind of message does that send?
She should have just kept her mouth shut.
What kind of message does that send to China, to Putin?
Well, they know what he's all about.
And, this is one of the problems with Kevin McCarthy. Just on this moment alone, they should both be impeached. He should be impeached because he's not capable, okay? She should be impeached because she's committing crimes by allowing someone who's not mentally competent to for not invoking the 25th Amendment and allowing this guy to still have the nuclear football and everything.
The government's just a mess. It really is just a mess, and there's so much corruption going on. I would say, I don't know. Is this the worst time in history? I can't imagine.
No. There's been like the Civil War and the Depression.
I know, but as far as corruption and all this stuff, is this the worst time in history that you can think of, or are we just more aware of
the government? The people, because of social media and everything, are more aware of things than they used to be.
Yeah, and I think people are more interested in politics than they used to be. I think there's more of an interest. I mean, you just look at a show like The View, which used to be an entertainment celebrity show. It has turned into a political show. And it serves them well because they get written up in the Daily Mail almost every day and talked about on Twitter and everything all the time. If they were interviewing celebrities only, they wouldn't be getting that kind of attention. And it shows the interest. And I think they've gained a lot of viewers because of their, now they're talking politics so much. I mean, it just seems there's more interest in that kind of thing than there used to be.
Did you see this latest story about Mayor Giuliani?
I know CNN has a documentary coming out.
Okay. This is
What Happened to Mayor Giuliani or something.
Now,
it's coming out on the 8th.
There's a story. These people in the press are disgusting. There's a story about Mayor Giuliani. It's so disgusting what they're doing to this guy.
Yeah.
Mayor Giuliani is not just America's mayor. Mayor Giuliani is an American hero and a war hero. On 9/11, when America was attacked, everyone in the government was running off into hiding. The entire Congress was evacuated to military bases. George Bush was flying out to the mountain out west. Mayor Giuliani went to ground zero and took charge during the attack, okay? He is an American hero. He is a war hero. He's America's mayor. But because he is MAGA, well, he must be destroyed. He's being sued. And I'll read the headline, then I'll read some of the story. This is unbelievable. Former employee brands Rudy Giuliani a sexist, sexual predator, and abuser in a $3.1 million lawsuit. She claims he demanded sex, fired her, and then threatened her to keep quiet. That's the headline. And then you read through the story. Listen to this. Let me read through the story. A former employee of Rudy Giuliani has filed a $3.1 million sexual harassment lawsuit against him, claiming he abused her while she endured a toxic work environment. Noelle Dunphy, a writer and business consultant who worked for Giuliani starting in 2019, said the two had a romantic relationship. That's consensual. But alleged that things changed when he began abusing alcohol and demanding sexual favors from her. In her lawsuit filed yesterday in New York Supreme Court, she wrote, Giuliani, once hailed as America's mayor, is a sexist, sexual predator and abuser. She claimed he made racist and bigoted remarks. Well, okay, I don't support that, but what's that got to do with her? She's white. And, bigoted. Anyway, she claimed that he made racist and bigoted remarks in his office and threatened her to keep quiet by bringing up his ties to President Donald Trump. And there's a lot of pictures of them together as a couple.
Let me see what she looks like.
She's a lot younger than Giuliani, and he's a weird-looking guy.
I was going to say, I don't get the appeal. I don't know why anybody would sleep with Giuliani.
He's rich and famous.
I don't get the appeal at all. You met him. You said he was extremely short.
I've met Mayor Giuliani, and Steve and I had dinner with him one night in one of the most embarrassing moments of my life, which I'll tell you real quick here because I know some of you heard this, but it's so embarrassing. I got to tell it again. Steve and I don't socialize much at political events. I don't like to do it, okay? For me to go to a political event, to meet a politician, it has to be a big deal, like Governor DeSantis recently. Mm-hmm. Steve and I got invited to a special private event with Mayor Giuliani, and to have dinner with Giuliani and sit at the table with Giuliani. And Steve and I are always very early. So Steve and I are sitting at the dinner table, and I'm sitting next to Steve. And I said, Steve, I don't even want to be here. They told us we were going to be able to sit at the table and have dinner with Mayor Giuliani. I don't see Mayor Giuliani. You know, they lied to us. Where's Rudy Giuliani? And I look over Steve's shoulder. Mayor Giuliani is sitting next to Steve, going through these cards, pretending to go through these cards that have his speech on them he's about to make at the dinner. And I could just tell he was laughing. He's like, what the hell? You know, I was like, oh my goodness, Mr. Mayor. And I was never so embarrassed in my life because I made a big, where's Mayor Giuliani? They lied to us. We were going to have dinner. And I was being loud. I'd had some drinks, you know. We were supposed...
What a jerk.
I was saying it really loud. And then I told Steve, I said, because Steve was looking at, I said, Steve, look over your right shoulder. Look who's sitting next to you.
Yeah, he's a weird looking dude.
And yeah, he's strange looking up close. But I love Mayor Giuliani.
Yeah,
okay.
Of course.
So anyway, she says they were involved in a romantic relationship, but he was demanding sex, so she's suing. According to the lawsuit, Dunphy, who is representing herself, and historically, people that represent themselves are crazy people. She began working for Giuliani after he retained her for business development work and other work in 2019. It began with Rudy as my boss and lawyer and later turned romantic, she told the Daily Beast. Yeah, excuse me. She said during that time, Giuliani offered his legal advice to help her achieve justice over the abuse she suffered earlier in her life. Instead of legal advice, however, the lawsuit claimed Giuliani would get frequently intoxicated while discussing matters of law, and he leveraged his counsel to pressure her for sexual quid pro quos during lawyer-client consultations.
I just don't believe that.
This is such BS. I thought she said they were in a romantic relationship.
Yeah, I just don't believe this at
all. You know,
there's so many women coming forward now saying things,
and she's representing
that
herself.
Happen, and I just don't believe
this
these
is
women.
her
I'm
truth,
sorry.
Kathy. This is her truth. As a result of Giuliani's legal malpractice, Dunphy was re-victimized, and re-traumatized, left without legal redress, and subsequently worse off than before.
I think
Giuliani
what happened, if anything,
came along.
They had an affair, and she's embarrassed. And people found out about it, and she probably can't get a job now because people found out she was sleeping with Giuliani, and nobody wants anything to do with her. And this is her Hail Mary, what she's doing now is she's pulling this so she can get some money out of it. She's thinking, well, I can at least try to get some money out of this situation and make myself try to make myself look good with the other side, and maybe somebody will give me a job or hire me. I mean, I think that's what's going on here.
Well,
got out. She's been sleeping with the guy, and she's embarrassed, and because he has so many enemies now, they don't want anything to do with her.
You know, if I were a single man today, before I had any type of relationship with a woman, and it got physical and everything, before every sexual encounter, a man should get out his iPhone and record her giving him consent.
That's just creepy.
Because creepy. You never know. These women. You know, she said she was in a relationship, but then she says he was demanding sex. I mean, they were in a relationship. What is she talking? It makes no sense, Kathy.
No, because she's lying. That's
why. Yeah. You know, and these guys. I mean, if
she's not going to get anything out of this at all.
If you're out there in the unmarried world of sex, and you're a guy. And you've got $10 to your name. Was he married
at the time? He's been married so many times.
You know what? I don't know.
Keep track.
I don't know. I don't follow his marriage life. I just know he's MAGA, and I love him. Okay, that's all I know.
They got a new documentary coming out on CNN on the 8th. Whatever happened to Mayor Giuliani? And it's like I saw a commercial for it, and it's just like it's basically a whole story about his downfall. How he was so great, and at night how he cleaned up New York. And how he had 9/11, and now he's just a drunken mess. And I will say this: I've been watching a lot of YouTube. I watch a lot of like people that walk through New York City or in other cities. You know, they have like walking tours where people will live stream walking. I don't really get to travel a lot, so I'll watch like people walking through London or Paris or New York. And I watched a lot over the holidays because I like to see the Christmas decorations. And I got to tell you, New York, and I read a story about this today, is full of rats. And I know it's always been a problem, but now they had a story how there's rats all around the mayor's house. That city, I would never go there now because not only are there so many rats, they're like not even hiding anymore. They're out around the people, coming out in the open, and this one guy was walking and he shown his camera on the sidewalk and there was like dozens of them just scurrying around. I couldn't believe it. And how could anybody not only live there? It's probably like Ratatouille where there's rats all throughout the rafters and the buildings. How can you eat there? How can anybody eat in a restaurant? Some of the greatest restaurants in the country are in New York City. There are rats everywhere now. The whole city they're not doing anything about it. I know it's always been kind of a problem they've talked about, but it seems to be getting much, much worse. And because you have a mayor that is unlike Giuliani, who doesn't want to do a damn thing, the city is again becoming a cesspool of rats and filth, and nobody's doing anything to fix things up. You know, he was a great mayor. I remember watching documentaries and films of New York in the 70s and 80s and TV shows, and I was like terrified to ever go. I'm like, I'm never going to New York City. And then he totally cleaned it up, and it became one of the biggest tourist attractions in the world, and you felt so safe there, and it was beautiful and cleaned up and nice. I went there right after he was mayor. It was amazing. I loved it. I wouldn't go there now.
No.
It's back to being an S-hole, as Trump calls them.
Now, before we go, I just want to play. This is Matt Gaetz nominating Donald Trump for
Fun
speaker.
Moment.
Gaetz. Donald John Trump.
And
let
me rewind that. Let me rewind.
Donald John Trump.
Okay, now, and when I went back to that,
you hear the murmurs.
Oh yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene is blushing when he sat back down, and she says something to him. And you know, the one thing that's missing in the news this week with all this that's going on are the lip readers.
Yes.
You know, all these members of Congress, they're not mic'd up, but they're talking. And if they would bring, like Bill O'Reilly used to have the lip reader on all the time when he was on Fox.
Oh, they should totally do it.
They need to bring in the lip readers. Like yesterday, Matt Gaetz and AOC were talking to each other. And I watched that video like 30 times trying to figure out what they were saying. I couldn't quite do it. And I'm dying to know what Marjorie Taylor Greene said to Matt Gaetz after he nominated Trump. But I'll say this right now on Twitter, Donald John Trump is trending on Twitter. Donald John Trump, because that's how he nominated him.
Get back on Twitter.
That is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing.
Yeah. And I'm so glad that Marjorie Taylor Greene got so excited over that because she's obviously compromised. She's being blackmailed by Kevin McCarthy.
She does love Trump.
Oh, yes, she does.
But Trump's supporting McCarthy too.
Not really.
Outwardly, he is.
Not really.
He truthed it. He said, you need to support him, get your act together.
That was before Pence endorsed McCarthy.
In her mind, she's in line with Trump more than Gaetz.
I don't think Trump really supports McCarthy. I think he's playing both sides.
Well, that may or may not be true.
Yeah. Well, but I believe he's not really supporting
That's your
him.
truth.
That's my truth.
Okay.
That's his truth. My truth.
He has always supported McCarthy. He has never not supported him.
I understand.
So
that doesn't mean he really
has
supports
his reasons. Don't get me wrong.
He's playing politics.
But she is more in line with Trump than Gaetz at this point.
I would not bet on that. I would not be so sure about that. Well, listen, we're out of time for today, but we will be back next time. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll talk to you next time.
Effectively motivating, inspiring, and leading engineering professionals is about putting people first. In today's world, effectively motivating and managing highly intelligent technology professionals is challenging. Arm yourself with the knowledge and tools you need to become a highly effective and motivating engineering team manager with the book Leadership with a Purpose, Motivating Your Engineers by author Robert D. Murphy. Engineers working in the modern day workforce are becoming increasingly more informed about their careers and employers, making making employee retention a full-time job. This is your guidebook to effectively motivating, inspiring, and leading professionals at all levels, keeping them happy and loyal to you. When you read Leadership with a Purpose, you'll learn how to establish a healthy engineering culture, how to cultivate it, and how to build trust with your teams. Give yourself a roadmap to successful leadership with Leadership with a Purpose, Motivating Your Engineers, from author Robert D. Murphy. Available in Kindle and paperback. Order your copy right now on Amazon.